Some people claim you need 600 grams of protein per day to build muscle. Others say protein shakes take 3 years to digest. Neither extreme is true, and the gap between myth and actual science on protein is wider than most people in the fitness world realize. Today, we're covering the latest research on the best protein types, how much you actually need, and exactly how to eat it to maximize muscle growth. Starting with protein type, there are 2 factors scientists use to rank how effective any protein source will be at building muscle in your body. The first factor is digestibility, which measures how much of that protein can actually be broken down and used by your body after consumption. The second factor is essential amino acid content. There are 20 amino acids total, but 9 cannot be produced by the body and must come from food. These 9 essential amino acids are the most critical ones for signaling muscle growth, and any protein source high in both factors is going to be superior. Animal proteins, including meat, fish, dairy, and protein powder, consistently score highest on both measures, making them the most effective options for building muscle efficiently. Plant proteins generally score lower on both measures, which led most people to assume they were simply inferior for muscle building compared to animal sources. But a surprising 2021 study challenged that assumption by comparing a vegan diet against a primarily animal-based diet over a 12-week training program. The vegan group supplemented with soy protein and deliberately varied their protein sources throughout each day to avoid deficiencies in any essential amino acid specifically. Surprisingly, both groups experienced similar increases in muscle size and strength at the end of the 12-week program, despite the significant dietary differences between them. The key factors that explained why the vegan group kept up were eating enough total daily protein and spreading that protein evenly across multiple meals throughout the day. Now, before moving to how much protein you need, there is one finding from the research that challenges something most fitness people do without questioning it at all. Most gym goers who care about their protein intake have been eating egg whites instead of whole eggs for years, believing the extra fat and cholesterol is unnecessary. A study had subjects eat either 18 grams of protein from whole eggs or 18 grams of protein from egg whites after their workout session. Despite equal protein content, the whole egg group showed a significantly higher muscle protein synthesis response, which is the biological signal telling your muscles to grow and recover. A follow-up study then compared 20 grams of protein from 3 whole eggs against the same protein from 6 egg whites after every workout for 12 weeks. Both groups consumed identical total daily calories and protein throughout the study period, making it a genuinely controlled and meaningful comparison between the 2 approaches. After 12 weeks, the whole egg group increased strength and reduced body fat to a significantly greater extent than the group eating only egg whites daily. The exact reason whole eggs outperformed egg whites is not yet fully understood, but researchers suggest the cholesterol and additional nutrients in the yolk may play a role. This finding does not mean you should eat only eggs, but it does suggest whole foods may contain muscle-building properties that science has not yet fully identified. Now let us address how much protein you actually need, because this is where most people are either dramatically over-consuming or not quite hitting the effective minimum. The strongest evidence on this question comes from a meta-analysis that reviewed the effect of protein intake on muscle growth across 49 separate studies. Researchers found that consuming more protein did lead to significantly more muscle growth, but only up to a specific and surprisingly modest daily intake threshold. That threshold was approximately 0.73 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day, and consuming more than this produced no additional muscle-building benefit in the research. For a 180-pound person, this works out to approximately 130 grams of protein per day spread across your daily meals. You can absolutely eat more protein than this, and it is completely safe. but those additional calories may be more useful coming from carbohydrates to fuel your training performance. A reasonable upper limit to consider is around 1.2 grams per pound of body weight per day, beyond which the additional protein is unlikely to provide meaningful muscle-building returns. These recommendations apply when you are eating at maintenance calories or in a calorie surplus with the primary goal of building as much muscle as possible. When you are in a calorie deficit, your body is more likely to break down muscle tissue for energy, making adequate protein even more critical during this phase. While the research is not yet fully conclusive on the exact optimal deficit intake, a minimum of 1 gram per pound of body weight per day is a reasonable conservative target. There is also an important adjustment for people who carry a higher amount of body fat, since protein needs scale with lean mass rather than total body weight.
If your body fat exceeds approximately 30% for men or 40% for women, a more accurate approach is to eat your height in centimeters as your daily gram target. So if you are 180 centimeters tall, aim for 180 grams of protein per day, rather than calculating from your total body weight. Now, knowing how much protein to eat per day is only part of the equation, because how you distribute that protein throughout the day also measurably affects your results. Every time you consume protein, your muscle protein synthesis levels rise, creating a signal for your muscles to grow and recover from your training sessions. However, this response maxes out at around 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal, and there is evidence you cannot re-stimulate it again for at least a couple of hours. This means spreading your protein evenly across multiple meals throughout the day keeps muscle protein synthesis elevated more consistently than concentrating protein in 1 or 2 large meals. A 2020 study compared 2 groups where one had uneven protein distribution across 3 meals and the other spread protein more evenly across the same 3 meals. Despite the uneven group actually eating about 10 more grams of protein per day on average, the evenly distributed group showed slightly better strength and lean mass improvements.
This confirms that distribution genuinely matters and that hitting a high-protein target in just 1 or 2 meals is less effective than spreading it across the day. But does increasing meal frequency beyond 3 meals provide even greater benefits for muscle growth and protein utilization over time? A study directly compared spreading daily protein across either 3 meals or 6 meals per day for 8 weeks, measuring muscle growth and body composition changes throughout. After 8 weeks, there were no significant differences in muscle growth or any other measurement between the 3-meal and 6-meal groups at all. So 3 protein-containing meals per day appears to be the effective minimum for maximizing protein distribution benefits, but eating more frequently provides no additional measurable advantage. The practical hierarchy for maximizing muscle growth from protein is straightforward and worth keeping in your mind every time you approach your daily nutrition planning. First, hit your daily protein target of at least 0.73 grams per pound of body weight if building muscle in a surplus, or at least 1 gram if cutting. Second, distribute that protein across at least 3 meals per day rather than concentrating it in 1 or 2 large protein meals, regardless of how convenient that might seem.
Third, choose high-quality protein sources with strong digestibility and complete essential amino acid profiles, while being aware that whole foods may offer benefits beyond their protein content alone. Fourth, if following a plant-based diet, compensate for lower individual source quality by varying your protein sources throughout the day and ensuring adequate total daily intake is consistently met. These 4 priorities, in this order, will produce significantly better muscle-building results than any amount of optimization around meal timing, supplements, or advanced nutritional strategies could ever provide. The science on protein is clearer than most people realize, and the practical application is far simpler than the fitness industry wants you to believe it needs to be.